Okay, before we get to building it, here are the parts I used. For the motherboard, I used the B760 plus Wi-Fi motherboard with the Intel i5 14600KF and 32GB of DDR5 RAM. For the cooler, I used the Freezer 34 and the GPU is the RTX 3060. And the storage is a WD Black SN 770 2TB and the case is the NZXT H5 Flow. Lastly, the power supply is the CX750M semi-modular. By the way, I was recording this on my phone and forgot to turn the phone horizontally, so some of the shots are vertical. Sorry. We were also watching Linus's Tech Tips video on how to build a PC in first person, and that helped a lot. So if you're building a PC, I'll recommend watching that video. This part always scares me because you have to push the RAM in until it clicks, and it makes me think it's gonna break every time. And I bought these parts over 8 or 9 months ago, which stresses me out even more because if one of these parts don't work, then the PC won't work and I can't even get a refund because past the refund time. This part was probably the easiest because it was just installing the NVMe. I also peeled away the protective sticker on the heatsink of the NVMe, the part where it had like the thermal pad, so the SSD could cool down properly, which my old motherboard did not have. So I found that like really cool in my opinion. But yeah. The next part kinda sucked because it was installing the CPU cooler, which took nearly an hour because it was just confusing. The instructions in the fan's manual were good, but like just installing it on the motherboard, that was the hardest part because the screws to attach it to the board was just not wanting to go in. Luckily though, it did, and the easiest part had to just be in orientating the fans for proper airflow, which the arrows on the fans clearly showed. Next was connecting the CPU cooler's fans cables, which was quite easy. Then it was almost just time for the first boot. I just had to install the GPU and connect the power supply cables. In my head, I thought installing the power supply cables would be the hardest and scariest part because you might be able to fry something easily, but there was only 3 cables to connect: the 24-pin motherboard cable, the 8-pin GPU cable, and the 8-pin CPU cable, so really a lot easier than I thought it would be. Now it's time to boot up for the first time, and this was the most stressful moment of the build in my opinion. But my dad and I couldn't figure out which pins to touch with the screwdriver to turn it on. You don't know how happy I was when it turned on and showed the boot screen and all the parts registered properly. Next, we screwed the motherboard to the case and started connecting the case's cables. Connecting the audio jack and USB-A cables wasn't too bad because you could clearly see which way to put it in. Connect the USB-C cable. The fans cables did confuse me a lot though, but after watching a couple of YouTube videos, I got all the fans cables connected. It's just I couldn't find the plug for the RGB control cable, and I spent 40 minutes looking at the motherboard, looking online, using ChatGPT, and just googling till I realized I just need to buy an adapter to plug it in into my motherboard. But I didn't really care since it was just for RGB control and not too important. When I was installing the power supply into the case, I found that it had like 4 different mounting positions, so it would work with like any power supply model, which I just thought was really cool, so I just included this. And it was just doing some cable management, which I won't bore you with to watch all the footage, so here's just a final look. Lastly, it was time to attach the panels of the case and peel the stickers off. According to ChatGPT, this new PC is about 83.4% better, with the CPU being around 300% better, with the 2D graphics being 91% better, and the 3D graphics being 23% better, and the memory being around 33% better, with the SSD also being another 34% better. Alright, that's it. Thank you for watching.